In 2001, British pigs, sheep, and cattle were plagued by an epidemic of foot-and-mouth disease, or FMD. Outbreaks had occurred on British soil before, most recently in 1981 and 1967, but this epidemic was uniquely devastating. Between February and September 2001, over 2,000 outbreaks occurred in the United Kingdom. 4 million livestock, not including newborns, were slaughtered as part of the disease control campaign. Meanwhile, restrictions on rural access and a decline in visitors to the UK cost the tourism industry billions of pounds in business. This summer, researchers from the Food Safety Network visited farmers in Essex who were directly affected by the 2001 foot-and-mouth outbreak. Their stories signal the seriousness of animal disease and the importance of having a clear disease control policy. For sheep farmers like Roy Threadgould, the outbreak of foot-and-mouth disease in Essex was serious business.
Immediately, there was, because it was in Essex and so close, we just shut up shop, basically. Put the disinfectant out and closed the business down as far as is possible. Well, I suppose Essex is predominantly an arable area, but there are still a lot of livestock units around, and I think among all livestock farmers there was a lot of worry because of the way the disease seemed to be out of control all over the country at once.
Even though it was never confirmed that Mr. Threadgould's sheep had foot-and-mouth disease, haphazardly enforced disease containment policies required the slaughter of his animals.
And we found mouth ulcers in 3 ewes. He said he didn't think it was foot and mouth and was going to recommend that there was a blood test. But they decided there wasn't time for a blood test and that we had to go. Subsequently, the blood tests proved negative, so.
Equally tragic was the environment of despair and the unknown.
As a neighbouring farmer went past and saw all the police, fire brigade and lorries unloading there, it really did affect us. And then a siege mentality sat in. We went home, put disinfectant down on our farm driveway, told all the visitors not to come, and we didn't go out off the farm for 2 or 3 days because you didn't know where or what was happening. And this was happening all around, and all the farmers just used the telephone to try and keep up with the information that was going on. And then the next thing we saw was this awful fire, which was only 50 yards from the main road, of cattle burning at night, and in the next 3 or 4 days you got the smell of burning carcasses, which I presume must have been 100 or 150 carcasses burning, and you had the whiff floating over our farms and houses of the burning carcasses, which upset us, some people, as much I think as the thought. And then the DEFRA, I think, came in and slaughtered the neighbouring pig farm as well, so the next night we saw another big flame going up off the next hill of a pig herd's been slaughtered and burnt, and it was upsetting at the time.
The British government's management of the outbreak, and particularly the actions of the then-new Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, have been criticized. Fortunately, no cases of foot-and-mouth disease have been reported since 2001. However, there have been a few scares requiring testing, as in Scotland on December 4th. According to the Scottish Rural Development Minister, the UK must remain vigilant in its surveillance of foot-and-mouth disease. The call to vigilance, however, applies not only to the UK. All countries should take note of what farmers and citizens in Essex experienced during 2001. All countries must be vigilant in the surveillance and control of animal disease.